Hi, welcome to MediatorPodcast.com, a podcast and video series about mediation, negotiation, and collaboration. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I provide online valuation and divorce mediation services in St. Louis, Missouri. During this episode, we will discuss leadership, team coaching, and conflict resolution for business with Ben Papa. He's actually a leadership coach and Enneagram teacher in Nashville, Tennessee, but works with companies and clients around the country. How did you transition from divorce mediation and practicing law, because you're an attorney, to focus on team coaching?
Yeah, it's interesting. I always start answering that question with the idea that I probably shouldn't have gone to law school in the first place. I mean, that was not the plan really for me. My bachelor's degree is in psychology, and my intention in undergrad was to be a clinical psychologist. That was the path I thought I was on. That's my major, like I said. But when I was coming out of Vanderbilt, I went to undergrad at Vanderbilt here in Nashville. When I was coming out of it and trying to figure out what to do, what I realized was math was never my best thing all through school. And there's a lot of math on the GRE. And so my GRE scores, it's really competitive to get into PhD programs in clinical psychology. And so what I kept finding was my verbal logical scores would be high enough to get in, but my math scores not so much. And so I got in a couple of places, but they weren't places that I thought I really wanted to go. And so I was studying for the GRE and taking all these practice classes and spent really years taking it multiple times, and it just wasn't working. So on a complete fluke, I took the LSAT. I was out drinking with friends the night before, no prep, no test class, nothing at all. Went in, took the test cold, and did really well on it. So that's really why I'm a lawyer, or was a lawyer. I mean, that's the truest answer I can give you, is it just sort of fell in my lap in that way. And so with a score like that, I knew I could get into law school, and I did. And then I did law school. And even though I hated law school, now I have a law degree. I guess I should take the bar. Well, I passed the bar the first time, so I guess I'm going to be a lawyer. And it really just sort of started off this kind of domino effect. I didn't hate being a lawyer, just to be clear. I wasn't miserable in that time. I did it for 18 years. But it's also not kind of what I was put on this earth to do. And so I always kind of found a way in the legal space to be a little bit out of the box. So to your point, I actually helped bring collaborative divorce to Middle Tennessee. I was the founding president of our practice group, and was fortunate enough to work more cases than anybody else in the state in that way. Also formed a training company, to your point too, where some colleagues and I got blessed by the International Academy of Collaborative Professionals to lead certification trainings around the country. And so we did that. And what I found over the years in the collaborative divorce space was two things. One was I paid attention to the fact that when I would lead those trainings, those 2-day trainings, sometimes 3-day trainings, I would be sad at the end of the day when the training time was up. I was like buzzing and energized and excited the whole time I was leading that training. I liked preparing it. I loved facilitating it. I loved answering questions. I loved everything about it. And so I had to notice that, right? I felt way more excited and energized in that space than I did practicing law proper. The other thing, though, and you'll relate to this as a collaborative professional, is when I was in a team meeting, a collaborative team meeting, which was often, what I realized my true skill set is in the Enneagram, which I know we're going to talk about in a few minutes, helped me see this. What my real gift is problem solving. I am really good at seeing paths through really complex problems, even in the midst of a lot of financial complexity, a lot of emotional complexity, conflict, interpersonal issues, all of that kind of stuff. I kept finding that a lot of people would sort of shut down and not really know what to do, or they would be at impasse or get into, they would do different things. But I would be able to sort of stay in it and work through it. What I found over the years was that skill set that I had was kind of hampered by my role as someone's aligned attorney. So I was not neutral, right? And so there could be something going on in the room that I knew that my client was the problem for. And yes, I could coach him or her offline and have conversations about that. But I didn't have access to the other party to really talk to them. It wasn't my role to really be kind of coaching my colleagues on what to do differently or whatever. And so I kept feeling like, and the cultural load that goes with being somebody's divorce attorney, was something I didn't love. So over the years, I just started feeling like more and more like the role that I was in was blocking my gifts, is the short way to say all of that. So I wound down my law firm in 2018 and got credentialed as a coach. So I'm a International Coach Federation credentialed and did a training that was blessed by all of that. Did a bunch of other certifications and some different assessments, including the Enneagram. I'm certified at both basic and advanced level stuff, and have done a ton of training, receiving training and all that area over the years. And I actually been working on the Enneagram for several years, even as an attorney. So I discovered it 7 or 8 or 9 years ago, and it was life-changing for me. And so that was also kind of bubbling up in the background as something that I was really energized by. So this space really feels like taking that skill set that I was able to use in collaborative team meetings and gives me lots of room to really use that in different creative ways. I can be much more nimble because I am neutral and I'm just there to solve problems. I don't have this kind of role that's blocking me. That's a long-winded answer to your question.
No, it's a great answer. And I think, part of it is there is so much psychology and understanding human behavior in mediation or collaborative divorce. And that's a product of not only your training and background, but it's also of your own personality.